Hi, it's Denise from Green Mama. I just did a video about my metaphysical haul, and I thought, hey, I have time. Let me do another one, because I wanted to do a quick update about. I had talked a little bit about spirituality and overwhelm, and since then I finished this book, Overwhelmed by Bridget Schulte, and I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been doing to, like what I've learned and what I've been doing to kind of minimize my overwhelm as far as the spiritual part of my life goes, because that is a big part of my life, and a big part of that to me is tarot and divination, and that is like my daily practice of connecting to my divine guidance, and that is like my compass. That's my how I get grounded, and that's just such an important part of my day. And but I have so many interests, and I've been feeling like kind of fractured and scattered, and so bringing that part of my life into balance, I think, is going to be very important. So a couple of things that I've done to minimize overwhelm is one, well, I'm out of town, staying with family in my hometown, and I only brought one deck of tarot cards. That was it, and it was just my purse deck. That's all I brought with me. But I did because I knew I actually ended up buying a deck, and I purchased it and I had it sent here, so I knew I was going to have this other one to work with. So I decided to not have so many, and I can tell you that that having just my new deck and the one that I brought with me has been I don't know the word to describe it. It's been enlightening. I just feel clearer. When I go to do my reading, I know I'm working mostly with this deck, and so when I go to do a daily reading, I don't have to think, well, what deck do I want to use today? Because as fun as that is, sometimes, because I have a lot of decks and I get like choice paralysis. I don't know if that's a thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you have so many choices that you almost can't decide, and it takes a long time to make a decision. Now, usually I'm just like, yeah, I want to use that deck, and it doesn't take me any time. But sometimes it's just like, oh, well, which deck do I want to use? Which deck, and it's just having only like really just working with this one, it just frees up so much like mental space. So, uh, so yeah. So the deck that I actually ordered, the one that I purchased, I know I'm limiting my purchases, but the one I did purchase is Mother Peace Tarot deck, and this blows my mind because I've been thinking about buying this one for a while. It's a round deck. It has been, it's by Karen Vogel and Vicki Noble, and it has been in print for over 35 years. And I've been doing tarot for at least over 20, and this is the first time I've owned this deck. And I want to say that it's probably because of the artwork. It's not artwork that I would normally resonate with. It's not bad artwork. Like, I love this one. This is the Sun of Discs. But, let's see. It has some nudity in it, so I'll have to skip some of it. This is a Shaman of Wands. But, yeah, I don't know, like, I guess I'm opening up to new types of art because I found this last year. I have decks that I had never purchased because I thought I was not going to vibe with the artwork, and I find myself surprised over and over again by several decks that I've gotten that I never thought that I would like. And like, I love this deck. In fact, I would say that this is my soul deck. That's a big thing to say for a deck that I haven't had for very long, but yeah. And yeah, the artwork isn't something that I would typically think, oh, this is my favorite style of art. Let's see. Is that the Six of Swords? But I don't know. Oh yeah, this one is an interesting one. This is the death card from this deck. So, so anyway, so I bought this deck, and which made me think, why was I buying all the other decks? You know, I had decided I wasn't going to continue to buy so many because I didn't have time to work with them, and you know, it was causing a little bit of overwhelm trying to fit them all into my practice and all that stuff, and just, you know, thinking about buying new decks and all of that. Like, it's just freed up a lot of time. But why? You know, it caused me to think, well, why was I buying all those decks? And I think one of the reasons was I was looking for a deck that I would connect with, like, at such a deep level. Like, that would be my, you know, like my soul deck, like my, you know, I don't know how to describe it. Like, that would be my deck, my, you know, special deck. And I have so many decks, and I have so many that I love, and some of them are very, very special to me. But this one is just like a whole other level of, I don't know, of special. So this one just, right now, this one vibes with me with all the material that I'm reading and incorporating into my life, and, like, you know, female spirituality and that kind of thing. It's filling a gap for me that I didn't know was there. So it's just been really special, and there's so much material that goes with it. I just finished reading the Mother Peace Tarot guidebook by Karen Vogel, and this just a short little book. It doesn't have a lot of information on the cards, but you know, it gives a good bit of information. And I was led to believe, I didn't think that there was a little white book in here, but there is. This is by U.S. Games, and it does have a little white book in there. So because I had this one, I haven't looked through the little white book really, but this one's just small enough, and it gives a little overview, a little history, you know, just a couple pages, and then has about 1.5 pages on the majors, and you know, just like one little extra here. But it does have on the minors, but it does have an upright, reversed meanings, and then left and right. And that's one of the things I'm finding out that I love about this deck, is that the cards can be upright or reversed or to the left or right, or any kind of like variation of those. And it just gives like a whole nother like nuance of meaning, which is really interesting. And there's also this book, Mother Peace by Vicki Noble, and that has a lot more information about the cards. This is one that I'm reading right now, actually. And it's really interesting, and it has a lot of good information, and I'm really excited to get into that. And then I also have the Mother Peace Tarot Playbook by Vicki Noble and Jonathan Tinney, which is, it has I think, meanings on the cards, but it also has a lot of information about using the cards with astrology. So I haven't gone through this one yet, but this sounds really interesting. But it says Astrology and the Mother Peace cards. Astrology, Tarot, and Sacred Play. So that sounds amazing. I'm super excited about that one. And then lastly, I have Rituals and Practices with the Mother Peace Tarot by Vicki Noble. So it says it's a system for spiritual development that taps into and manifests the divine feminine using the Mother Peace deck. So that sounds really interesting as well. So there's just so much to do with this deck that I find myself like tempted when I was at the metaphysical store with all the gorgeous decks, and you know, just wanting to, because like I like collecting decks. I like trying new decks. I like, you know, the touching, you know, like very kinesthetic part of opening and playing with the new decks. But having this one that I like so much has really helped me to be able to say, no, I don't need any other decks right now, because I have the Mother Peace Tarot, and that's what I'm working with. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get back into collecting as much as I have been, or, if it's a cycle. Sometimes I feel like things come in waves. Like, you collect a bunch of decks and then you don't for a while and then you do. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, having just the one that I'm working with has really been good for my eliminating, like, I don't want to say stress because I don't think tarot is ever really stressful, but having so many choices can sometimes it just requires so many decisions, and having not make those decisions has just given me more mental space. So I really have been appreciating that. And then another thing I've been doing to try to eliminate overwhelm is I only really have like I used to have a bunch of books that I was reading, and I read a little bit and then I would be like, okay, I can't absorb any more of that information, so I'd read something else. And it worked for me for a while, but right now I've just been reading like a couple of books. I have one nutrition book that I'm reading because I am doing a cleanse. But then I also have, my one, I'm reading the Mother Peace book, and that's it, except for my book club book, which is Miss Babylon. So that one's amazing. So I have very few books that I am actively reading at any time. So that's been really helpful too, because if I have time to read, I know what I'm reading. I know I'm going to read a little, and I don't have to think, oh, what should I read today? I feel like reading a little bit more of that book, or, like that kind of thing. I'm just like, all right, I'm, reading this much of my nutrition book, and then if I have any more time, I'm going to read my, some other piece, and then I'm going to bed. So that's just kind of, I don't know, it's also cleared up a lot of decision making and choices and kind of that kind of thing. So that's helped a lot. So and then I have my like my daily rituals, my cards that I draw, my my mantras. That those are my little things that I fit throughout my day, and I'm not able to do them at a set time because of my schedule and how things work. But having those things that I do throughout the day, just little, small things, that's been keeping me on track and making me feel more involved, like in my spiritual life. Not something that I want to do, but something that I actually do on a daily basis. And so that has been really, like, having a flexible yet dependable routine, I guess you could say, has helped me eliminate some overwhelm. So those are things, and then also I've been managing my expectations, because I think when I expect, I'm going to do this and I'm going to read this and I'm going to get, all this stuff done. Like, if I expect to do more than what is actually probably realistically possible, I can hope to do those things, and that's fine. But when I expect to do those things and get those done, like when I'll sit there and sometimes I make a list, like, this month I'm going to work with these decks and I'm going to read these books, and I'm going to do this every day, and I'm going to get do this ritual, and all this stuff, and it doesn't happen. Well, then it gets frustrated, and then that creates stress, and then so that's managing my expectations. Because one of the things I learned from this book is that one of the things that causes the most stress and feelings of overwhelm is when people don't feel like they have control over their schedule, their time. When you don't feel like your time is your own to manage, that can cause more feelings of like stress and overwhelm. And so I know for me that's definitely true, having 3 kids and not always having reliable childcare, working around other people's schedules. Like, my time is basically spoken for 24/7 unless I can find somebody else to help me take care of the kids. That's unfortunately, like, that is just the way things are. And so managing my expectations of what I can get done in a certain time to what I know I can get done while I'm watching the kids, that kind of thing has really helped me, like, be able to, like, breathe and release some stress. So that has been really helpful too. So working with one one main deck. I have my one that I keep in my purse. You know, you gotta gotta always have my deck wherever I go. One deck, just minimizing the books that I'm reading, and then having a flexible but dependable, spiritual practice, I guess you could say. Certain things I do during the day whenever I can fit them in. When the kids take a nap, after the kids go to bed, that kind of thing. And then managing my expectations of my time. Those things have been really helpful. And of course, I'm here with my family, so I have a little bit more breathing room because I have a little bit more help with kids. But I know that that is going to be helpful even when I get back home and I, resume my regular routine of like, watching the kids, like kids activities and things like all the time. Like I still think that those things are still going to really be helpful. So I got some really good feedback about some things that other people were doing to minimize their overwhelm as far as when they collect decks. And one of them was that, this person only, kept one out, like they cleared the rest away and only had one out. And so I think that that is something that I'm also going to try when I get home because it's been working so well here. I think that when I get home, I'm going to where my desk is. Like I have them on a shelf and I think that that's okay, but I'm going to take all of the decks off of my desk except for I have my mother piece, and then I have one of my decks that is like my working deck that I do regular readings and stuff with. So I'm just gonna have those out, and then I will be able to hopefully clear my mind of all my other choices and just focus on what's in front of me. So I'm excited to try that when I get home, and yeah, I hope that if any of those tips help you, that it can help you get rid of some overwhelm, or if you maybe never thought of it, or if you have some good tips, and you want to let me know what they are, because I think it's more of an active practice than anything else, like something that you have to continually work at and get better at it, like practicing like a muscle. You have to keep trying to eliminate overwhelm, because I feel like in society today it can really creep up on you because the way that things are. Like it's in the United States, we don't have a universal child care system. There's so and childcare is very expensive. It's just like things like that, especially for mothers of young children. Like those are things that that you have to think about. And like people with demanding jobs, or now that we have like social media, I know that a lot of people that work, but they also bring their work home because they're constantly replying to emails and text messages and stuff like that. So I think that all of those things can contribute to overwhelm. And as far as just trying to balance all that with my spiritual life, that's something that's going to be an ongoing practice, like mindfulness. So yeah, so those are my thoughts, my follow-up thoughts on eliminating the overwhelm and my new deck practice. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.